The Paul Leslie Interviews.
I want to welcome our special guest. She's a jazz musician, Cyrille Aimée. Thanks so much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Paul.
So where are you at this moment?
In my living room in Sunset Park in Brooklyn.
Do you like living in New York?
Yeah, I do. But I'm moving in November.
Oh, yeah? Where are you moving to?
I'm moving to New Orleans.
Oh, wow. Well, you'll fit in perfectly there.
Yeah, I think so too.
So for all of our listeners out there, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
I'm from next to Paris.
Outside of Paris. And what's the name of the village?
It's called Samoa. It's next to Fontainebleau. It's a very small town, so people don't really know the name.
Yeah. What kind of an atmosphere was the town you were from? What kind of an environment was that?
Well, like a little French village, you know, like with cobblestones and the forest and the river, kind of like you see in the French movies.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your parents.
My father is French. He's from Paris. And my mother is from Dominican Republic. And they love to dance. I can tell a lot about my parents, but I won't tell everything.
Did they always encourage you in terms of you pursuing music?
Yeah, my father especially wanted me to pass the baccalaureate before anything. So he was focused on the school. And, but then he saw that, you know, music is what I absolutely wanted to do. So now they're okay.
What has always been the purpose with the art that you create?
I just want to have fun, basically. It's the one most important thing when I make music. I want to make people smile and make the people happy and have a good time.
Who would you say are the singers that have influenced you the most?
The first one was Michael Jackson. My mom, she was obsessed with Michael Jackson, and she would record tape every live concert that was on the TV. And then we would sit in front of the TV and try to make the dance moves with my sister. And so he was my very first idol. And then later when I started singing, I discovered Ella Fitzgerald, and she totally blew me away. So she was my second biggest influence. And then I came to America, and I discovered Billie Holiday and Nancy Wilson and Sarah Vaughan and Dina Washington and Chet Baker and a lot of great singers that I love.
You've mentioned a lot of singers there. What about singers of today? Are you someone who's looking for music?
Yeah, all the time.
So you check out a lot of things.
Yeah, I love this French singer. She's not very famous here, but her name is Leila Martial. She's one of my favorites. I love Becca Stevens. I love Hayatus Coyote. I love Liana La Havas. I love a lot of music.
What about the instrumentalists that you enjoy the most?
The ones that I enjoy the most, I get to play with them.
Mm-hmm.
My bandmates, they're really phenomenal. Adrien Moignard and Michael Valianou on the guitar. They're some of my favorite instrumentalists. Joe Fram, great saxophone player, where I have had the chance to play with many times. Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing people in New York, and I know there are many in New Orleans as well, and I'm excited to discover that.
What is it about New Orleans that is calling you?
Just a different kind of energy. I've been in New York for almost 10 years, and it's the longest I've been in one place. My parents, ever since we were little, we moved a lot. And I feel like I need a little change, to get some new inspiration and step out of my comfort zone and build some new relationships and discover new things and feel new things and hear new things and taste new things.
It's going to be exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Django and the influence he's had. How did you come to discover his music?
Well, in Samoa, in the festival, in the town, there's a festival every year, a Django Reinhardt festival, because he used to live there. And so that's where I first heard the music. At first, I didn't really care about the music because I had heard it since I was little at the festival. But then when I became friends with the gypsies, because Django was a gypsy and his family and hundreds of other gypsies come to Samoa during the period of the festival. And so I became friends with them, and when I started hanging out with them, I started to understand their music. And that's how I really got into the Django music.
Is there a recording of Django Reinhardt that means the most to you?
Oh, there are many, but I think one of my favorite is Manoir de mes rêves in the Blue Star sessions, where he plays electric, and he does a really, really moving solo.
Has the reason that you make music changed through the years?
No, the reason, no. The way, yes, but the reason is always for me I just want to, put some joy in people's hearts, and that has not changed.
You said that the way had changed. What did you mean by that?
Well, the way I make music, it's different than when I was 16. Thank God. but yeah, I go along with the changes that happen in my life and within me, and that changes my music. So I'm not the same person, and I'm not going to make the same music throughout the years. And I'll always be looking for my sound and who I am through music, and as soon as I will find it, it'll change, and so I'll have to keep looking.
Do you think of music as a brotherhood?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I play with my favorite musicians because it's not just their music that I love, it's their personality that comes through their music. And, the more we play together, the more we become a family, and we can read each other's thoughts. And with music, you transcend every language barrier. You can go to the other side of the world, go to a jam session and meet musicians that you cannot communicate with because you don't speak the same language. But as soon as you say, take the A train in B flat, they know what you mean, and you can communicate on the music.
With that said, do you have any, in terms of other singers, do you have any competitiveness?
No, because that's not what we all strive for. The way to grow musically is to learn from everyone. And so my favorite singers I learn a lot from them, and I love to see them grow and to see what else they will bring to the table and what new things they come up with.
We're talking with Cyrille Aimée. Who taught you the most about music?
There's not one person in particular. I've learned a lot from a lot of people, and I think for me the most important lesson I've had in music is to be in the present moment. And I think my parents taught me that. My parents are really positive people, and they love to discover new things. They love to travel. They love all kinds of food. They love to throw parties, and they love to laugh. I think that everything is connected, and that's a good lesson in life, and therefore a good lesson in music.
Yeah. Wow. What is the biggest compliment someone has paid you?
I would say it's that I sound like no one else.
Is that something that you strive for? Is originality?
No, I try to be myself as much as possible. And when I hear that there's no one else that's myself, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. Is there anyone out there that you have wanted to share a stage with or record with that you haven't yet?
Yeah, I would have loved to jam with Bobby McFerrin.
Bobby McFerrin.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun.
What is it about Bobby McFerrin that draws you in?
Well, I mean, his instrument is incredible, and he can go anywhere. And I'd like to do that, to just step on a stage with him and not know what we're gonna do, not prepare anything, and see what happens. And because I do that a lot with my bandmates, I do that a lot with bass players, with guitar players, with piano players, not knowing what's going to happen, not rehearsing. But I've never done it with just a vocalist and I think he would be the one to do it with.
From all the universal themes that seem to run through music, love being the most prevalent, but also death, the meaning of life, religion, what topic would you say has dominated your music?
Yeah, I think love. Love, definitely. Love not just for another person, but love for life and for beauty and for being alive.
This is a very difficult question, I'm sure. If you had to pick one recording of yours to represent what you do, which one would you pick?
Well, yeah, that's difficult because I've done a lot of different things. I would say a song that I wrote called Nuit Blanche, because it's a French song, and I scat on it. Yeah, it's different.
Do you like the recording studio?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's very different than the stage, you know. You have to be very meticulous, and every single thing has to be perfect because it's going to be there forever. And it's like a magnifying glass. But it's a different set of skills, and it's another challenge, and I love it.
Would you say that you liked live performance more or the recording studio?
They're both, I love them both. They're just totally different. You can't really compare. You can't say I like this one or that one better. It's totally different, you know. In the studio, you get to hear yourself really well, and you get to kind of like craft a perfect sculpture, a perfect snapshot of what happens live. But you just, every detail is thought out, and you want it to be perfect. Whereas on the stage, you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be in the moment, and you take in the energy of the audience. And as soon as the moment is gone, it's gone. It's not there forever. So they're both very different concepts.
Do you think that it's important for an artist to be self-critical?
Yeah, of course. It's important, but to a certain limit. For me, I'm not self-critical when I'm on stage. When I'm on stage, I'm really completely free and open, and I don't think. But when I write, I'm too self-critical, and that's where I need to be less self-critical so that I can let the ideas come out without judging them. So there's definitely a limit to being self-critical.
What is it you think about the songwriting that makes you more hard on yourself?
Well, kind of like what I said about studio versus the stage is that, you know, you write a song, and you find some chords, and then you have to pick a melody, and then you have to stick with it and say, okay, that'll be the melody. And I'm so used to improvising melodies on the spot all the time when I perform, when I'm improvising, that for me to pick one seems crazy because there's so many options. And so if I pick one, then I'm thinking, is it the best one, or is there a better one out there? Should I try? And usually the first one you come up with is the best one. But then your mind comes and in between you and instinct and just tries to tell you otherwise. So it can be difficult.
What do you do to get inspired to write?
I don't really have a method. The best way is to have time, and silence, and it's difficult when you're someone who's on the road all the time. Yeah, the best time is either a song just comes to me and I can't help but write it, but if I want to decide, okay, I'll write a song, I need to be in a peaceful state of mind.
So you were saying you have to kind of make things quiet. You like to get peaceful.
Yeah.
What kind of things inspire you?
Nature inspires me a lot. I wrote several songs while riding my bike through the forest in France. And people inspire me. The people I love, the people that are close to me, and feelings and emotions, that inspires me. And the world.
What's it like for you after a performance and somebody comes up to you and they start praising you, or they start telling you what the performance meant to you?
It makes me happy. I like it. It's kind of surreal because, when you play music, you don't realize that. I mean, you can see that people are there listening, but you don't realize the impact that you have. You're almost in your own world, and then when you come out of the stage and you talk to the people, that's when it kind of hits you that there were people there listening, and they heard everything, and it moved them, and it's really rewarding. It's even if you're exhausted after the show, the energy still lingers on, and it feels beautiful to hear that. It's surreal because, every time you think, wow, that's my job.
Mm-hmm.
And just make people happy and make people cry and make people smile, and that's what I'm paid to do.
You've released pretty much an album every year, whether a live album or a studio album. What is the album project that you want to release that you haven't yet?
Oh, I have so many projects, Paul, that I wish I had more than one life. Yeah, there are many ideas, many things on my project list, and I guess I'll just have to do one at a time, because if I want to do everything, then I go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I just want to write songs. Then I'll dress them up later. I don't know what kind of sound I want. I don't know what kind of band. I just know I want to write songs, and until I have more than enough.
Are you someone who is more moved or more touched by lyrics or melody?
Both touch me, but when I choose a song, or the lyrics are the most important to me, because the lyrics are written and I can't change them if I sing them. I have to pick lyrics that I believe in. Whereas the melody, you can do whatever you want with the melody, with the chords, with the rhythm. You can, it's called an arrangement. So for me, the lyrics are the most important thing.
A lot of people, when they see a singer or a musician, they see the glamorous side of that life, but they don't see everything. What do you think people don't see about being an artist?
Well, I mean, when artists are on tour, all the people see is that 1 hour and a half where they're making music, and they're up on the stage and they're wearing nice clothes, and but they don't see the rest, the other 22 hours where we're just traveling and traveling and traveling and waiting and checking into a different hotel every night. And that's a lot of work. That drains you, and the concert is what gives us the energy to do all of that. It's all worth it for that 1 hour of music. But, not being home ever, not sleeping in your own bed, that's the work part.
The road. It seems like the road is just very grueling.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially in the United States, because the distances are so big that from one gig to the next, all you do is travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting from point A to point B, and then all you see is the venue, the airport, and the hotel. And the hotel just for sleeping. Yeah, it's tiring. And the food on the road is not great. And for a Frenchie, it can be kind of depressing sometimes.
Well, I wanted to get in just a little bit into food. You're someone who you have traveled around quite a lot. Where have you had the best food?
I think I would say it's my trip to India. I went there for a month, and I couldn't believe the food. It has nothing to do with the food that you find in Indian restaurants here. It's incredible, and yeah, I loved that trip for the food.
What is the best thing about being Cyrille Aimée?
I don't know. Just being alive, I guess. Same for everybody.
In closing, our listeners are all over the place. What would you say to anyone who's listening in?
Hi. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time.
And thank you for taking the time. I want everyone to check out the website. It's CyrilleMusic.com. That's spelled Cyrille. I really appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.